On Global TV News Express, court convict Nnamdi Kanu on all 7 counts of terrorism. In business, federal government eyes 1.49 trillion naira electricity export revenue. On the foreign scene, Guinea-Bissau's Imbalo faces tough re-election bid after unstable first term. And in sport, Nigeria climbs to 38 in the latest FIFA ranking. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital. I am Mukhtar Qasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365 and on StarTimes, channel 276. And now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has assured families of the abducted student in Maga, Kebbi State that the federal government will deploy every available resources to secure the girl's release. The president, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, delivered the message during his visit to the state and condemned the attack, honored those killed, including Brigadier General Musa Uba and Vice Principal Hassan Mokuku, and commended security agencies for their sacrifices. The Kebbi State government also dismissed claims by United States Congressman Riley Moore that the incident happened in a Christian area, stressing that the abducted students are Muslims. The Federal High Court in Abuja has convicted IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu on multiple terrorism charges, with Justice James Omotosho ruling that the federal government proved its case beyond reasonable doubt after presenting evidence of years of incitement, violent broadcast, and unconstitutional stay-at-home order across the southeast. The court found Kanu guilty on all 6 of the 7 counts, including directing attack on government facilities, encouraging the killing of security personnel, teaching followers to manufacture explosives, and continuing to declare himself member of the IPOB despite its proscription as a terrorist organization. Justice Omotosho, who earlier ordered Kanu out of the courtroom for unruly conduct, said the defendant's action directly contributed to widespread destruction and the loss of lives, describing him as a threat to who cannot be allowed to remain in a sane, humane society, as sentencing is expected after the full judgment is delivered. In the meantime, Nigeria's National Security Advisor NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, has met with United States Congressman Riley Moore and other American officials in Washington, where the United States said it has raised concerns about violent crimes against Christian communities and the growing threat of terrorism in the country. Moore demanded concrete action to be taken to protect vulnerable communities and said the United States expect measurable progress in addressing attacks by Boko Haram, ISWAP, and armed groups in the Northeast and the Middle Belt. He added that the Trump administration and Congress are united in strengthening cooperation with Nigeria, but will closely monitor development. And now to legislative matters, where the House of Representatives says it has done its part to resolve the prolonged pension crisis affecting retired police officers who have been protesting at the National Assembly complex. Chairman of the House Committee on Police Affairs and Pensions have therefore urged the retirees to remain calm as the legislative process nears its final stages. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick has the details.
Chairman of the House Committees on Police Affairs and Pensions, Abubakar Yeleman and Hussaini Jallo, addressed journalists in Abuja, confirming that the Police Pension Amendments Bill has successfully passed all stages in the House of Representatives. The bill, which seeks to remove the Nigerian police force from the contributory pension scheme and establish an independent police pension board, was transmitted to the Senate for concurrence on October 28. Yeleman and Jallo stated that the protesting retirees are fully aware of the steps already taken by lawmakers and appeal for patience as the bill awaits action from the Senate before it can be forwarded to the President for assent.
But God willing, I'm assuring you by next week, this bill is going to go to the presidency for assenting. And we draw your attention, the media, help us engage those veteran police officers who are outside for almost decades of weeks here. So please talk to them, explain to them. We are past their demand, and Senate too are ready to send it to President for assenting.
So I believe my call for them to exercise more restraint and patience and go back to their houses, because inshallah very soon what needs to be done will be done, so that the Senate will pass it and then it will be transmitted to Mr. President.
For now, the lawmakers insist they remain committed to securing a lasting solution, but the final move rests with the Senate. From the National Assembly, Anieti Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
In the meantime, tensions briefly flared at the House of Representatives as lawmakers clashed over when and how key issues surrounding Nigeria's electoral laws should be discussed. The exchange came during plenary, raising fresh concerns about legislative coordination and attendance. Again, National Assembly correspondent Anieti Patrick has the rest of the story.
The usually calm plenary session took an unexpected turn when lawmaker from Anambra State, Peter Uzokwe, attempted to raise what he described as an urgent matter affecting Nigeria's electoral framework.
Sit down, Honorable Ifeanyi. Sit down, please. It is so serious that it is damaging our reputation outside. And let me read it out. Honorable Ifeanyi.
But before he could advance his points, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas interrupted, insisting that any discussions related to electoral reforms must wait until a special session scheduled for next week.
You shouldn't be talking with anger. This is a simple issue. You should be matured enough to know that this is a serious place.
Despite objections from some lawmakers who cited their constitutional right to raise matters of national concern, the Speaker maintained his position, stressing the need for order and adherence to the House procedural schedule. Shortly after order was restored, House Leader Professor Julius Ihonvbere rose on a personal explanation, this time directing his concern internally. He cautioned committee chairmen against holding committee meetings while plenary is in session, a trend he warned undermines legislative process.
I thought it was important that inasmuch as we appreciate the commitment of our members, particularly those that are chairing statutory committees, to give us the maximum of their efforts.
Speaker Abbas supported the caution, expressing worry over the increasing number of lawmakers absent during morning sittings. From the National Assembly, Anieti Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Away from the National Assembly, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, has stressed the need for collaboration between the South-South Development Commission and the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The FCT minister stated this while receiving a delegation from the South-South Development Commission on a courtesy visit in Abuja. Kabir Hassan reports.
The South-South Development Commission delegation, led by Managing Director Usoro Akpabio, was at the FCT to strengthen institutional ties and appreciate the minister's support as the new commission begins full-scale operation. Minister Nyesom Wike welcomed the team and urged them to avoid political distraction and work with unity and discipline to deliver meaningful development to the South-South region.
You work tirelessly to achieve the Renewed Hope agenda in their own region. Do the right thing. Support Mr. President. Support Mr. President. Don't go there not to be divided. Oh, I'm loyal to Z. I'm loyal to the president that appointed you. Your loyalty is to Mr. President.
The Managing Director of the South-South Development Commission reaffirmed the Commission's readiness to work closely with the FCT administration, deepen collaboration with federal agencies, and implement community-focused projects that aligns with the federal government's Renewed Hope agenda.
Seek your indulgence to allow us to liaise with you constantly so that America can understand that leadership appointments are a trust, and that you must justify the people's confidence. They come up with you through your guidance to ensure that in this short time that we're here, 4 years, that we make an impact that's positive.
The visit underscores renewed commitment between both institutions to strengthen cooperation align development priorities, and deliver impactful projects across the South-South region. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
The Chief Executive Officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, says securing the country from drugs and related crimes is now a shared national responsibility. Speaking at the 7th Security and Emergency Management Awards in Abuja, Marwa says Nigeria's drug war is entering a tougher, more coordinated phase, and the fight cannot be won by law enforcement alone. Kike Lomo Okere has the details.
In a firm message to security agencies, civil society and community leaders, Chief Executive Officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, highlighted the agency's renewed focus in its second tenure, such as aggressive interdiction, stronger border control, and expanded treatment and prevention programs. The NDLA boss reveals that within the year, the agency has made over 16,000 arrests, about 3,000 convictions, 4.5 kilograms of drugs seized, and more than 600 acres of cannabis farm destroyed.
It is also an opportunity to reflect on the evolving landscape of security and emergency management in Nigeria and how our work at NDLEA strengthens national security and stability.
Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, Awal Musa Rafsanjani, commended Marwa for what he described as transformative leadership, adding that NDLEA's daily interception and public awareness efforts are saving young Nigerians and strengthening national security.
There's no way you can also detach issues of drugs abuse with the issues of security in this country. And therefore, for me, this is a recognition to the people that have been making sacrifice in this country.
The ceremony also featured the unveiling of a youth-authored book on anti-drug and anti-smuggling efforts, as well as recognition of several security agencies across the country. The highlight of the evening was the presentation of Outstanding Personality of the Year to General Marwa. The NDLEA spokesman Femi Babafemi was also honored. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
Now talking health, Lassa fever has killed 177 people in Nigeria this year, as new data from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, shows that the country has recorded 966 confirmed cases across 21 states as of epidemiological week 44. The NCDC reports that Ondo, Bauchi, Edo, and Taraba states account for 87% of all infections, with the national case fatality rate rising to 18.3%, higher than the level recorded during the same period last year. Health authorities note that most patients were between 21 and 30 years old, and no new health worker were infected in the latest reporting week, and that National Multi-Sectoral Lassa Fever Task Team continues to coordinate response efforts nationwide. You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Guinea-Bissau's Embalo faces tough re-election bid after unstable first term. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories. On the other side of this break, please stay with us. You're welcome back from that break, and now to business news, where the federal government says Nigeria's successful 4-hour grid synchronization test with the West African Power Pool could earn the country up to 1.49 trillion naira yearly from exporting 600 megawatts of electricity to 15 West African nations. Power Minister Dilabu Adebayo insists that export will not affect local supply, stressing that the national grid can will 8,500 megawatts, far above what is currently generated. He added that with regional tariffs nearly 3 times higher than Nigeria's, Full participation in West Africa's power market could ease liquidity challenges and boost cross-border energy trade. Still talking business as prices of goods and services continue to decline across the country. Traders at the popular Singa market in Kano State are calling for government intervention to stabilize the market. They are advocating for the introduction of price control measures to protect their capital from the effect of daily fluctuations. Global Television's Idris Jabrin visited the market and now files in this report.
At Singa Market, located in the heart of Nigeria's commercial city of Kano, truckloads of food items arrive almost daily. The market remains one of the busiest in the region, thanks to the significant drop in the prices of goods and services. Traders attribute the price drop to recent federal government policies, which have allowed the duty-free importation of certain food items. Actually, there is the federal government policy which relieve some duty-free importation of goods and services, most especially spaghetti. And if you go to Dawanau International Grain Market, you will find out that the situation is still the same thing. While this policy has made goods more affordable for consumers, it's creating a different kind of challenge for the traders. They say the consistent fall in prices is gradually eroding their capital, making it difficult to sustain their businesses. Unlike before, small-scale retailers no longer buy in bulk, as prices continue to fluctuate almost daily.
Actually, most of our clients or customers are skeptical even to buy huge stock and keep it because of that fear. If they buy after some days or after some times, the price may come down and they may lose money. So actually the market is a bit dull. So we are now making much sale, and the people are calm, and even the business people, they prefer to, keep their money and buy a little stock for them to maintain their market. However, but people are not comfortable to stock much goods in their shops, actually.
To strike a balance in the economy, the traders are urging the government to implement either minimum or maximum price control mechanism. This, they say, will help protect their investments and ensure business sustainability across the country.
Since there are so many regulatory agencies, those who are in charge of, the issue of pricing, the issue of, consumer protection. So I think there is need to intervene by introducing MRP, minimum retail price or maximum retail price. This will help the situation.
Despite the concern raised by traders, the ongoing price reduction have brought some relief for Nigerians, effectively easing the burden of high living cost. From Kano, Idris Jabrin, Global Television News.
And now to news making rounds on the foreign scene. Guinea-Bissau heads into Sunday's election amidst rising tension as President Umaru Sissoco Embalo faces a strong challenge from Fernando Diaz, with questions still hanging over Embalo's mandate as the country's recent political upheavals continue. The contest, though featuring 12 candidates, is largely a two-man race overshadowed by military rivalries, a booming cocaine transit trade, and warning of possible democratic backsliding. But nearly half the population set to vote. Many citizens say their priority is peaceful, credible elections that bring stability and a leader able to tackle insecurity and economic hardship. The United Nations says Sudan is facing one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, with nearly two-thirds of the country now requiring urgent assistance as fighting between the army and the rapid support forces continues. Our correspondent has the rest of the story. The war, now in its second year, has displaced millions and pushed communities towards famine. United Nations Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher says funding for aid operations is dangerously low, even as hunger, mass displacement, and right abuses rise sharply. He warned that children are suffering the most, with soaring malnutrition and increasing casualties in areas cut off by fighting.
Nearly 2 in every 3 people in Sudan needs aid right now. 11 months into the year, we're at 32% funded of the 4 billion that we need for 2025. And again, as I've described to you after previous visits, I'm seeing the impact, the huge impact, the brutal life and death choices we're making as a result of aid cuts. And just a reminder that all we're asking for to save 114 million lives is 1% of what the world is currently spending on arms and defense.
Spokesman of the United Nations Secretary General Stephen Dujarric noted that the continued flow of weapons into Sudan is fueling the violence, adding that conflict-driven famine has been confirmed by multiple sources multiple times this year, a rare and alarming development.
The last thing Sudan needs now is more flow of arms, more flow of weapons, more flow of drones. We're seeing horrific violations of human rights, horrific violations of international law.
The United Nations is calling for stronger international pressure and immediate funding, warning that without urgent action, Sudan's crisis will deepen and more civilian lives will be lost. The United States and Saudi Arabia may be moving closer to a breakthrough on normalizing relations with Israel after President Donald Trump and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman hinted at progress during talks at the White House. Again, our correspondent has the details. The Crown Prince said Saudi Arabia wants stronger ties across the Middle East and is open to joining the Abraham Accords, but only if a clear path to a two-state solution is secured. He described his discussion with Trump as healthy, emphasizing that Riyadh still expects movement towards a Palestinian state before finalizing any agreement. Trump also said the two leaders held good talks about potential frameworks, including both one-state and two-state solutions.
Today and tomorrow we're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment, real investment and real opportunity by details in many areas. And the agreement that we are signing today in many areas in technology, in AI, in earth materials, magnet, etc., that will create a lot of investment opportunities.
Trump later defended the Crown Prince when asked about the 2018 murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, insisting that the Saudi leader knew nothing about it and argued that Washington must maintain strong ties with Riyadh despite lingering controversy.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
With both leaders signaling willingness to continue negotiations, attention now shifts to whether the condition for a two-state solution and regional political realities can sustain the momentum towards a historic Saudi-Israel agreement. And now to the exciting world of sport, where Nigeria has moved up 3 places to 38 in the latest FIFA World Ranking, boosted by a 4-1 win over Gabon and a draw with DR Congo, despite losing the African playoffs on penalties. The Super Eagles remain 5th in Africa, behind Morocco, Senegal, Egypt and Algeria, and hold a narrow lead over Tunisia ahead of December's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The rankings update comes as Nigeria seeks to rebuild confidence after missing out on the 2026 World Cup. Meanwhile, Morocco's Achraf Hakimi has been crowned African Men's Player of the Year for the first time, beating Mohamed Salah and Victor Osimhen after a standout performance with PSG this season. Kislan Shabak of Morocco won the Women's Player of the Year award, with Nigeria's Chiamaka Nnadozie claimed her 3rd straight Women's Goalkeeper of the Year title. Morocco dominated the ceremony with multiple awards, including Best Men's Goalkeeper, Best National Team, and Best Young Players. Now, as Global TV News Express comes to an end, here is a recap of our top stories. Earlier in the news, we brought you that the Federal High Court in Abuja has convicted IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu on multiple charges of terrorism, with Justice James Omotosho ruling that the federal government proved its case beyond reasonable doubt. In business, the federal government says Nigeria's successful 4-hour grid synchronization test with the West African Power Pool could earn the country up to 1.49 trillion naira yearly from exporting 600 megawatts of electricity to 15 West African nations. On the foreign scene, Guinea-Bissau heads into Sunday's presidential election amidst rising tension as President Umaru Sissoco Embalo faces a strong challenge from Fernando Diaz, with questions still hanging over Embalo's mandate and the country's recent political upheavals. From the world of sports, we brought to you that Nigeria has moved up 3 places to 38 in the latest FIFA World Ranking, boosted by a 4-1 win over Gabon and a draw with DR Congo, despite losing the African playoffs on penalties. And that's it on Global TV News Express. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim, saying thank you for watching.